Namaste. Sadakhush Robitia. I, Javin Dr. L.K. Sharma, Professor Jyoti Vidyapeth Women's University, Jaipur. Today our topic is scope of public administration. The scope of the public administration is divided into the two broad disciplines. First, scope of public administration as an activity, scope of public administration as an discipline. Firstly, we have to discuss about the scope of public administration as an activity. As an activity, broadly speaking, the public administration embraces all the activities of the government, which we have previously discussed that government deals with all the three branches, that is executive, legislative, and judiciary of the government. Hence, the activity, the scope of the public administration is no less than the scope of the state activities. In the modern welfare state, people expect many things, a wide variety of services and protection from the government. In this context, people or public administration provide a number of welfare and social security services to the peoples. Besides, it has to manage the government owned industries and regulate private industries. Public administration covers every area and activity within the ambit public policy. Thus, the scope of the public administration is very wide in a modern state. Now we have to discuss about the scope of public administration as a discipline. The scope of the public administration as a discipline is divided into the two views that depends upon the subject of studies compromises in that particular views. First view, that is known as post-corp view. The view of the scope of public administration was advocated by the Luther Goleg. He believed that administration consists of the seven elements. He summed up these elements in the acronym POSTCOB, each letter of which implies one element of administration. Gulick sums up the scope of the subject by the letters of the word POSTCOB, which denotes planning, organization, staffing, direction, coordinating, reporting, and the busting. P stands for planning, which means that the working out in a broad outlines the things to be done, the methods to be adopted to accomplish the purpose. O stands for organization, which means the establishment of the formal structure of authority through which the work subdivided, arranged, defined, and coordinated. S stands for staffing, which means the recruitment, training of the personnel and their conditions of work. D stands for direction, that means making decision and issuing orders and instructions. CO represents here as a coordination, which means interrelating the works of various divisions, sections, and other parts of the organization. R stands here for reporting, which means informing the superior within the agency to whom the executive is responsible about what is going on. And the last one is B, that is stands for busting, means fiscal planning, control, and auditing. According to the Luther Golig, the post-corp activities are common to all organizations. They are common, no problems of management which are found in different agencies regardless of the nature of the work they do. The post-corp gives a unity, certainty, and definiteness and makes the study more systematic. The critics pointed out that the post-corp activities were neither the whole of the administration nor even the most important part of it. The post-corp view overlooks that the fact different agencies are faced different administrative problems which are peculiar to the nature of the services they render and the functions they perform. The post-corp view takes into the consideration only the common techniques of the administration and ignores the study of the subject matters which the agency is concerned. A major defect is that the post-corp view does not contain any reference to the formulation and implementation of the policies. Therefore, the scope of the public administration is defined very narrowly, being too inward looking and too conscious of the top management. Now we shall discuss about the subject matter view of the public administration. We all know that the public administration deals not only with the process but also with the substantive matters of the administration such as defense, law and order, education, public health, agriculture, public works, social security, justice, welfare, etc. These services require not only the post-scope techniques but also have important specialized techniques of their own which are not covered by the post-scope techniques. For example, if you take a police administration, it has its own techniques in crime detection, maintenance of law and order, which are much and more vital to efficient police work than the formal principles of organization, personal management, coordination, or finance. And it is the same with the other services too. Therefore, the public administration should deal without the process, that is post-co-op techniques and the substantive concerns. We conclude that the scope of public administration with the statement of Lewis Merriam. Public administration is an instrument with the two blades like a pair of scissors. One blade may be knowledge of the field covered by the post-co-op, and other blade is the knowledge of subject matter in which these techniques are applied. Both blades must be good to make an effective control. Moreover, the post-corp represents only the tools of administration, whereas the substance of the administration is something different. The real core of administration consists of various services performed from the people like defense, health, agriculture, education, and social security, etc. These services have their own specialized techniques which are not covered by the common post-corp techniques. In other words, we can say that the administrative agency has its own local post-co-op because of the subject matter with which it is concerned. Further, the Gulick's common post-co-op techniques are also influenced by the subject matter of the administration, that is, services and activities in which they functions. That means, in general sense, we can say that students that post-co-op technique shall be applicable as per the nature of the functions of that particular organizations. Thus, the post-co-op view is technique oriented rather than the subject oriented. That is, it ignores the essential element involved in the public administration, namely the knowledge of the subject matter. That's why here we have divided a subject matter view, and in modern technologies of the public administration we incorporate both post-co-op view and the subject matter view. Hence, the subject matter view of the scope of public administration arose. It lays emphasis on the services rendered and the function performed by the administrative agencies. It advocates the substantive problem of an agency dependent upon the subject matter, that is, services and functions which can be rendered by the organization with which it is concerned. Therefore, the public administration should not study not only the techniques of the administration but also the substantive concerns of the administration. In last, we can conclude that, however, the post-co-op view and the subject matter view are not mutually exclusively, but they complement each other. They together constitute the proper scope of the study of the public administration. As we previously discussed that in the words of the Mariam, that it is like a pair of blade. One blade may be the knowledge of the post-co-op and another blade will be the knowledge of the subject matter. As we have previously discussed that administration is concerned with what and how of the government. The what is the subject matter and the technical knowledge of the field which enables the administrator to perform this task, and how is the technique of the management, because now we are not giving a proper system of administration. Now we have to evaluate the system, that whether the policies that can be formulated or implemented by the government that can be properly managed or not. Beneficiaries can take the advantages of all the things or not, because it is a matter that is the lacuna of the government policies or a proper system of the management. Each is indispensable, together they form the synthesis of that is called the administration. Here we can conclude also that in the words of the Herbert A. Simon, who says that the public administration has two important aspects, namely deciding and doing things. The first provide the basis and for the second. One cannot conceive of any discipline without thinking or deciding. Thus, public administration is a broad ranging and amorphous combination of theory and practice, in which we have to discuss about the theory that will we have to read in the books, but in the practice when we are implementing the policies at the ground level, then we are facing several problems, that is lacuna of the knowledge, lacuna of any capabilities. So students, today we have to discuss about these things, and hope so that you can understand about the scope of the public administration. If you are facing any problem, then write a comment in a comment box. Thank you.